Hey, 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 beautiful souls. Welcome home and welcome to Saturday Night Live. And here's some jazz hands with Lisa. Yay. Oh my gosh, what a day. What a day. So, yeah, who's going to save your soul? Who is going to save your soul? There's a At the before I started the live, there I shared a song. It's been a musical day. It's been a highly energetic day. So the date is July the 5th, 44 seconds on the clock there. That reminds me, it goes back to the grocery store this morning. I would have forgot that if I didn't see that on the clock. This morning, I went to the grocery store early. I had to grab a few things, and I just really wanted the day to myself. Really felt the need for a day to myself. And so went to the grocery store and the total came to 44.44. And before that, I had found some chamomile tea, half price, and I was in desperate need of chamomile tea. And speaking of chamomile tea, cheers. So I found it for 50% off, and I made a comment to the young girl cashier. Oh my gosh, what a day when you need chamomile tea and you find it for 50% off. And then when I went through her cash register, the total came to 44.44. And the girlfriend says, "What kind of a day are you having? Who's rolling with you?" And I said, "The angels, 44.44. 4 is the number of the angels. And in just thinking of it right here and now, in this moment, it is the stable divine masculine as well, that emperor energy times 4, which comes to 16, which is the tower, letting everything go that has come before this moment. So let's get this Palo Santo going. There's a lot to share tonight. If I'm here alone, that's okay. Here I go again on my own. And yet I trust that whenever you find these messages, there will be something here that supports you and is confirmation for you and encouragement to keep going on the path of your spiritual awakening and your healing. So at this time, I'd like to ask that I'm a clear and pure channel to bring through messages from Source Divine, loving and kind, supportive of our manifestation of our greatest and highest experience of joy in this lifetime, aligned with the divine, via our very own powerful, miraculous, the smartest technology on earth, our central nervous system. And in particular, that vagus nerve. So, if you were here last night, you'll know that there's been a lot of movement, congestion moving through. And this is really speaking of us. Remember a couple weeks ago when Jupiter moved into the sign of Cancer, and there was a message, the need for Cancer season to be one of rest, to be one of showing up for ourselves. Our body knows best. Our heart does too. And personally, it really feels like growing as the seed of faith and growing in the miraculous nature of us, the divine human, aligning, and for some of us, aligning once again with our highest timeline, if you will, aligning again with our path of service with the divine, 444. I was wondering if Tristan would come back. He was in here, and then I took him and put him in my son's bed, and he came back. And this, it's kind of speaking of the message that's coming through, because cats very much speak of independence. Cats are pretty finicky. Um, they choose you. They choose when they're going to engage and not engage. And this really feels like a time for all of us in our personal experience in coming together more, in really closing the door on what came before and opening to so much more. That's really what it feels like, opening to so much more. For those who don't know, my name is lisalyle. This is my passion. This is my gift of service. This is my offering to the world, this space, this community, growing community here on YouTube. Thank you so much for showing up. Those of you who do show up and resonate with anything that is shared here are definitely the warriors of the heart, here to rise again and shine from within. And as I'm saying, there's so much clearing. So I finished this book today, which I started yesterday and finished it today. Oh my God, I love Maury. I'm going to try to find the interviews he did with Ted Koppel during the time, in a 3-month span of time, the last 3 months of his life. And I want to share something here that was pretty profound. Well, I thought so. Where is it? I didn't even mark it where it was. Okay, so actually, before we get there, let's go back to the beginning of the day. So I went to the grocery store. $4.44 was the price of my purchase. Came home. Previous to the grocery store, I had walked the dogs. Then went to the grocery store and came home and started to shift again, because as I shifted this space yesterday, cleared out this space, a table in particular was moved out of here. A sofa table was moved out, and I had a visual of where it was going to be at the front window with plants on it. Anyway, so I started doing that, and then I just really felt the need to get out. I had to get out. And so also yesterday I had organized and went through the shed a little bit and brought in a container that had some boxes in it. And so I emptied out those boxes and just to get rid of the one box. And I came across this. Tristan's just sat on it. I came across this. You guys don't know what it is. I know what it is. And I opened it, and 822, and which is 12. And when I opened it, I burst into tears. They're Frank's glasses. And I tried to hold myself back. I tried to, brush it off, like, how silly. You've moved twice, like I've moved out. I'm in the second place since his transition in 2018. And so he doesn't need these. I kept them. And when I opened it up today and saw them, I just burst into tears. And as the day, so I needed to get out. At that point, I needed to get out. I was so overcome with grief. I was so lonely. I was so missing his presence. I was so missing the presence of the stable masculine. And, I tried to hold myself back. Hey, Carrie Ann, welcome. The instant reaction was to hold the emotion back, to not let it flow. How silly, you're crying over a pair of glasses. And it was much bigger than that. It was a release of grief And hindsight, like as the days gone on, I've really come to the realization that it was, on a Saturday was our favorite day, right? It was the day that we had together during the week. And, he loved to boss me around, and I don't take bossing around very well. I did from him. you know, he was the leader. And, he handed out the tasks, and, we accomplished a lot, and we had a lot of fun accomplishing a lot. And at other times we did very little. Maybe it was a walk down to the lake, or a ride on his bike. I wish I would have went on more rides with him on the bike. He didn't convince me many times, to be exact. And I totally relaxed and enjoyed the ride. It was great. um, and so when I went to nature today, the intention was to just go across the street. There's a beautiful park across the street. Um, thank you so much for saying that, Carrie Ann. And yet, there's when one transitions, when 11:22, when one transitions to the other side, the relationship truly doesn't end. Love never dies. And so, there is this, much like was in the air last night, there is this energy. Why would we choose at this time to isolate? Let us instead choose to align with the path of the divine and have faith and trust in the journey. And so today, after the sunglasses, hey Kiki, hey Colleen, welcome sisters, welcome. Thanks so much for being here. I'm just sharing a little bit about the energetic movements of today, because many of you will know, like in this past week, 12/12 there, like we are so supported. We are so supported, and we really ought to be proud of ourselves, where we are right now in this moment, and the obstacles that we're overcoming, the releases that we're undergoing. It's not for the faint of heart. So as I left here today, I had my bag packed. I was and a bowl of cherries with me. I was going to go sit in the park and write and eat some cherries. And there was such a strong call. I needed to get to water. I needed to get to water. I needed to go deeper into nature, not just to sit in the park across the street, to go and explore somewhere I hadn't been. And and I went in bare feet. I did. And there were the sharps that I saw along the way was broken pieces of glass. Um so I went for this walk, and I wanted to get to the beach. Or there's not really a beach, it's a creek. There's a creek that runs on down the ravine. And so I walk along the path. I find this gate that's open, and there's like an off the beaten path. And so I go a little bit beyond that gate, and on the wooden bridge, and I see that there's a little beach. And so I head down. I go walk back to the path. I go down. I go to the first beach, and the water is very deep. I literally could have swam in there. It wouldn't have been over my head, but it would have been like up to my chest. And maybe one day I will swim in there. Um, Maybe if I have company, because I'm kind of like, yeah. Anyways, so I wasn't going to stay there. I wanted to be able to get my feet really in the water, and I didn't want to go swimming. So I followed the path a little further down and came across a beach which was littered in, like, it was an old shopping cart filled with trash, clearly evidence of a fire. And so I'm like, I don't really want to sit here in this mess of like what humans left. And so I see this like island, It's not really an island. It was like the water's low, so there was rocks exposed. And as soon as I saw the island, I heard in my head, "No man is an island." And then I thought, "Oh, maybe a woman is." So I'm going to go over to this little island. So I was laden down with stuff. That could be part of the hip issues too. So I had a singing bowl with me and my bag with the cherries and the blanket and all this other stuff. So I walk in the water on the slippery rocks. I made it across. I knew I was going to make it across. And I sat down on this little island. And then I went for a walk in the creek. And, there was, I heard, because I was walking upstream. So I was walking against the flow of the current. And the message I heard is, when you feel like you're moving against the natural flow, turn around and float. So hung out there for a bit, had a visit, did some cleansing, had a visit from a male cardinal who was a little bit camera shy. He was very vocal, though, quite camera shy, and then spotted the female on the beach, further down where the human like where the trash and stuff was in the water. And then eventually the male came over, and it was like very sweet. And it was a reminder that we're never truly alone. And the message for us at this time is to let go. Let go of desired outcomes, let go of really expectations upon yourselves. And because if we have expectations on ourselves, we're going to have expectations of others. And this is the breeding ground, if you will, for resentment. So simply settling in to the energetic flow. So then I came home after I spent about a couple hours out there. I really need to take a chair down there, a lounge chair down there, because the body doesn't like the rocks so much. It was a rock island. It was a rock island, so I could only sit there for so long. And came home, and what happened next? Came home and went and finished this, sat outside for a couple of hours and finished the book, which was such a heartwarming story. And the lesson is once we face our own death, then we can get on with living and really appreciating what life is all about, and what the true purpose of living and being human is. What is it? What is it to you? One of the points I underlined today is Mitch asks Maury, "And what are the important questions?" Maury responds, "As I see it, they have to do with love, responsibility, spirituality, awareness. And if I were healthy today, those would still be my issues. They should have been all along." And so it really feels like, at the time that this was going on, the O.J. Simpson trial was going on, and Mitch made note of how everyone was so consumed by it. If you remember what was that, 1997, 96, 97, something like that, 97. Everyone was consumed by it. This is really when I remember CNN coming online, right? The constant entertainment, how something so serious was made as entertainment. And in fact, it was a mockery. It was a horse and pony show, right? And we all know in our heart of hearts that he got away with it. And so now you know, as so since that time, the focus has become more and more externalized, right? You know, even one of the lawyers in the OJ trial, his family is quite a well-known reality TV family. And so many people for so long have been so invested in the foolishness, the fool-la-la, tomfoolery, and absolute mockery at the meaning of life, right? So, oh, before I went to the across the street to the park, I found a book while it was on the table, and instead of grabbing my yellow one, I was guided to grab this one, which I haven't written in a very long time. Last time I wrote in this was, oh, April, April of 2025. So I haven't written in this in a few months. Oh, yeah. So when I first wrote in this, and it feels really important, in April 2nd of 2022 is when the first entry in this book. And it feels really important for all of us because the transition we're moving through is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. It's going to require us to show up more. It's going to require us to perhaps grow up as well. And it's also going to require us to acknowledge how far we have come and how many. I keep being drawn to my bookshelf behind the desk now. And it's like, what's going to be the next book that I'm going to read? That's 2 in 2 weeks. So the growth is taking place. And we may not always see it in front of our face. And it's important though at this time it feels to acknowledge it. And it's easy to do when we are living our truth. And so the message that came through 3 years ago, 3+ years ago now, is this: remembering who you are. Love is your beautiful heart. Trust yourself more. Relax, release the response to attach and react. Relax and release the response to attach and react. Breathe. Believe you are your own medicine. Your heart is the blessing. No more lessons for you. A blessing is here now to live and give through and from the heart. Each breath is the place to start. Open your heart, for as open as you are also hard and can be closed off. This is your awakening, 2022 style. 2323 on the clock, divine masculine energy. This is your awakening, 2022 style, that has you remembering the blessing of God's holy, beautiful child, much loved child of the light. Meditation is your medicine. Allow your breath to lead your way. Take 10 just for you each and every day. Trust us. Trust you. We've got this. Blessings upon you, abundance flows. You have grown. Let go of density, the heavy weight of the mental stream. Breathe. And so let's talk about the mental stream, because I've been a little bit in the mental stream today around our ego and the ways in which the ego wants to persist in our life, especially if we feel embarrassed or ashamed or like we were tricked or fooled. the ego the ego wants to come into play and say, you know, hey, 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 you want to know? You want to know what it is? This is what it is. And the ego wants to retaliate. The ego wants to react. The ego wants to um, perhaps hold on too long to something that never should have been invested in. So it feels like some of us, and the best way to move on from a place of, like there's a situation in my life where, and it's in recent years since I've had a job outside of the house, and it's within the job space, it's within the workspace, and I on the after, what shall I say, healing from the absolute disrespect and the absolute intentional deception. On the other side of that, you know, it's not it's not my shame to carry, right? It's sometimes it's just about the acceptance that some people just aren't good people. Some people just don't bring much to the table. And sometimes the ego has us in a state of feeling like we don't deserve anything more, or settling for less than we deserve, compromising our own inner knowing, going against what we know in our heart of hearts is right and true. So the best way forward is through. And the best way forward, and like this energy, because it is in the workspace, I have dabbled in the realm of, offering grace and, putting on a good face and not saying anything. And, you know, for what purpose? For someone to continue to be, you know, less than integral human? So I feel like speaking about it 2744, just verbalizing it is another um it's freedom. It's freedom. And we don't get free uh just because we want to be free. We have to go through the emotions. And, if you're one of these people out there that plays games with another person's heart or is intentionally deceptive, what kind of a person are you? And what must you feel on the inside of you to be so um, disingenuine? Disingenuine. And so it feels like I guess perhaps a part of the reason for sharing that is because maybe some of you are feeling that. We don't have to, you know, we don't have to give people the best that we've got when people have nothing to offer in return. And we don't need to pour into spaces that are not balanced and reciprocal. And we don't have to put up with people's bullshit. And you know what? In fact, we can call people on their bullshit, because there's a lot of like, um, you know, a part of our growing up, a part of our spiritual awakening, a part of our healing journey is standing up for ourselves. And so there's a lot going on. So after I came home from the lake today and finished reading the book, I decided to go and wash the dishes in the sink. And so as I'm washing the dishes in the sink, I feel something coming out of my nose. It was big, a big movement through my nose, and I looked down, and it was like a clot of blood, and it was fresh. It was like, I don't know. I haven't had a bleeding nose in a very long time. But again, it was only, I've got Tristan's fur all over my face. It's like itching my nose. Um, yeah, this drop of blood came out of my right nostril. And then there was a little bit more of a release just through the right nostril. And this really speaks to me, back to the glasses and the crying episode this morning and stuff. And I will say that, one thing I can say about the most recent situation I found myself within is that sometimes not everything is a gift from heaven, and just because somebody has a name that's your deceased, besties, the name of their, like we played a song by an artist with the same name at his funeral. So, in my mind, it was like, a sign from the divine, and it was anything but. It was disastrous. It was terrible. It was not good for me in any way, shape, or form. It wasn't, it just really wasn't. And, it definitely served a karmic purpose, this connection. And, it supported Lisa's ability to grow in stability of our own worthiness. And sometimes we find ourselves in a situation that, we have to continue to show up in a space on the day to day. And it hasn't been easy for me to do that. And yet it becomes easier and easier every single day because, um, yeah, it becomes easier and easier every single day because any guilt or shame is not mine to carry, right? When we know better, we do better. When we know better, we do better. And, people will always reveal themselves. And if people can't be honest with themselves, if we can't be honest with ourselves, how on God's green earth, Mother Gaia, how are we ever going to be honest with another? And, if you're in any sort of connection at all that, your intuition's saying, no, trust it. Trust it. Don't let it go on any longer. Do not allow or continue to allow someone into your space that does not honor you as the holy ground, the sacred space that you are. Do not let anyone into your life that does not walk softly with your heart, that does not walk softly with their own heart, and it's really about us opening up to spaces that are 3333, that are authentic. Don't lower your standards for anyone. Don't, a lot of times, sometimes people are so dumb, so you almost feel sorry for people. And, that's kind of how I felt for this person. I felt sorry. So I continued to be friendly with him. Nah, it's not working. It's not working for me. I don't have respect for you. You clearly don't have respect for me. And so let it be, and as the seed of faith, as the seed of change, as the warrior of the heart, we keep going. We shut the door on those spaces that don't value what we bring and who we are. right? Who has time for that? We're not here to drag another up, or to be a feather in someone's cap. A feather, and speaking of feathers, I brought this it's not a new deck. I've had it for a long time. I was guided to bring it here tonight. So as I say, feather in the cap, I thought about this book, this deck. So let's pull a feather for us. The starling. Now is the time to get out into the world and connect in authentic ways. Yeah. Don't waste your time in spaces that, are never going to be the spaces where you belong. Trust your heart and what you know from the start, because we all know, and sometimes we ignore, right? Just for the sake of connection, adult interaction, conversation. And yet, if we're not having those conversations with someone that's an energetic match, those conversations are pretty dull and boring. Like, what are you bringing to the table, and what does another bring to the table? What do you feel when you connect with this? What I'm feeling right away is it's not always black and white. It's about the middle road. Remember the message coming through last weekend was like sweeping, lifting up the rugs, opening the closet, and sweeping it all out to the middle of the road. That's what this energy is. And this is the woodpecker. And it says, use your discernment and fortitude to achieve your goals and find a new rhythm. And, how do we move beyond when we feel like, remember last night, they're all going to laugh at you. The embarrassment, the absolute, like, yeah, of the recognition of who someone is. And perhaps it's something that others knew all along. And, perhaps, is this an eagle feather? Yes, it is. Look at that. The eagle. You are learning all aspects of spiritual connection and searching and reaching new heights. And it's because of your direct and constant connection with source. And remember, I mentioned the eagle feather last night. I knew it was an eagle feather. Let me get my eagle feather. What a gift. What a gift. I would say this is my most prized possession that was Frank's. An eagle feather. Super cool. And it came from the property where his father lives in Cape Breton. So what a gift. And the gift is you. We are the gifts. And go to the places that are reciprocal. Be in the spaces, run in the direction of a love that is reciprocal, a love that elevates, a love that opens us up to connection, communication. If we can't be honest with ourselves, how on God's green earth will we be honest with anyone else? And woodpecker always speaks to me of honoring the sacred rhythm of our heart, trusting our heart, knocking on heaven's door, living our life with the awareness that we all die. We come into the world alone, we go out of the world alone, and we don't take anything with us when we leave the earthly home. And so what are the seeds that you're sowing? And, the tears that came through this morning, really came through from a missing of the love, missing of the stability, missing of the masculine, the leadership in my life. Honestly, I'm really honestly, as the feminine, I'm so tired of like playing double duty. I'm so tired of, and this, the bleeding through the right nostril really felt like almost a cleansing through the paternal bloodline. I know that sounds like all convoluted and strange. It just came right now. Right here in front of you. Right here in front of you. That's the realization that came from that. It's a cleansing of the bloodline. It's almost like a celebratory time. And to get eagle, and what is this? Turkey, owl, eagle, and then owl. Your intuition is correct. Follow your inner wisdom without fail. Yes. So keep trusting ourselves, keep showing up for ourselves. Even when we don't know what the path ahead looks like, can we still show up for ourselves in faith? Can we still show up for ourselves and truly be happy in the day? Seize carpe diem, right? Seize the power of each day. Each day is a beautiful gift. And, like as I was there and down on the island today by myself, the little rock island in the stream, I can't wait to share that space with someone else. I can't wait to go and show them. And hopefully, we pad down there and we walk through the creek and we hang out on the island and just breathe. That's thank you, Colleen, for saying that. You're doing great too. We all are. And I feel like it's really, this Cancer season is like a season of pause as we move through whatever the physical body's going through. And remember, we've got that big full moon coming up on the 10th. So 5 days from now. So that's what? 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm counting from 10. We're at 5, 6. So Thursday. Yay. I hope it's Thursday. Or Wednesday. Anyways, we have the full moon coming up. So really working with this energy, going within, going to nature, getting clear, remembering, what did Maury tell us? Love always wins. Love more. Shut the front door on those spaces. You don't have to be friends with someone who's an asshole, right? You don't have to hold back to support someone else in saving face. If an asshole is an asshole, call it. Why do we continue to offer grace to people who want to continue to cross boundaries and, come into, I know why you want to come into my space. It's a great space to be in. Why though? Like, you don't bring anything, those that don't bring anything, why do we welcome them in? It's better to be on our own because we're never truly alone anyways. Dove, the morning dove, MOUR, letting go, letting the grief flow. And grief is a multi-layered thing. Aw, nice. Healing, right? The beautiful green is the healing presence. We're doing great. We're doing good works. Stick with it. And another thing, so when I went down to the lake, I was guided. I've been working, again, today I cleared the space in the front and my bedroom as well. And I came across this beautiful crystal and this one as well. And this one fell. This one broke. Not today. It broke when I first got it. Frank was still alive. I walked into the door of the house and I took my blanket out of the bag because I had been down at the lake, and this fell on the ground and broke. A big piece came off, and it really reflects the light beautifully through the broken piece. And there's something to that. So I took these two down to the lake, and my beautiful womb-shaped piece of shungite that I absolutely love. And when I came home, I even looked back to make sure that I hadn't left anything behind. And when I came home and I pulled these two crystals out of my sage bag that I had them in, I was looking for the shungite, and I had left the shungite behind. It's my favorite piece of shungite. I haven't gone back to get it. And that was a real test as well, in trusting that there's a reason that it was meant to stay there. There was a reason that the womb is resting on that island tonight, under the light of the moon. I may trek back there tomorrow morning, and I trust it'll be there. I trust it'll be there. And if it's not, I trust that it's meant to. It's just like when I lost, lessons in letting go, lessons in love, letting go. What lies behind us and what lies ahead of us matters very little compared to what lies within us. And like one of these cards said about strength and fortitude, moving forward with strength and fortitude, courage, being true to you. Who cares what people think? And we don't always have to go and tell us, I would love to tell, you know, I don't need to tell my side of the story. If anyone wants to know, they can ask. There's a, you know, if anyone wants to know my story, just ask. I'm an open book. I come here, I share, right? Sometimes when we sometimes we just need to show up and go into the spaces authentically as we are, and allow people to use their own discernment, their own judgment to figure things out. And if people want to judge and make assumptions and not know, that's on them, right? Anybody who wants to know anything, come and ask. Like I said, I'm an open book. So what does the dove say? Feel and allow a deeper sense of peace to fill you now. This is a divine quality. Yeah. And we are the divine children of light. We are the divine essence. We are here to live a good life. And if we could all take on the idea of living like we were dying, like Maury said, it's what you leave behind. It's the love you leave behind. It's the people that are there for you in the end, at the end, the last breath, the ones holding your hands, the friends, the lover, the, children. This is what matters. And very few of us, we're so busy that very few of us take time for the awakening. And this is a 2 energy, 2, the high priestess. 2 also, I'm seeing the judgment energy, because just out of 0. And it's like let's stop judging one another. Let's take the opportunity to get to know one another. What are you hiding? Why so secret? What's going on? What's what's in your heart? Most of us have a beautiful mind, powerful minds. This is where the ego lives as well, or the mind governs the ego in the solar plexus, and either supports our ability to make free will choices and move forward and break free and go in the direction that our soul wants us to go in the direction where love is knocking, where love is calling. If love comes a knocking, don't go running in the other direction. Run towards love, and you'll feel it, right? You'll feel the spaces that are good for you. You'll feel the spaces that are good for your soul food, and good for your human too. And you'll feel those spaces that aren't as well. Honor what you feel, all of it. And don't keep, why would we keep going back or to a space that doesn't feel good, that doesn't do anything, that doesn't, no value added, not an intelligent thought anywhere, and that really probably flows from, their own deception. people's deception, people not wanting to expose themselves because they're shady characters, sly, sneaky, lying, cheating, stealing, all of it, taking what they can get like a thief in the night. Take what you can get and run. Take the love, take the whatever and run. No, run towards it. Don't be a taker. Be a space, I feel so much like the feminine is really called to relax and trust more. Trust the process. It's not, I know, it's not easy. It's hard to walk into the unknown, right? It's hard to walk into the unknown on our own. We're creatures of, we're pack animals. And a lot of times what's been happening externally has led us away from the tribe, led us away from the pack. Women, we've been down this road before, right? Women, strong, I am woman, hear me roar, I can do it on my own. Men, I don't need her anyways. And if I did, it's not for much, like, come on. It's so far from where we're meant to be. We're not meant to walk through this world alone. I don't want to. I mean, and yet, as I say that, I look at all the evidence of the fact that I don't ever walk alone. And yet, you know what I mean? It's about having a hand to hold, a heart to hold, a mind to stimulate. And to have someone do that for us as well. Bringing color to this life. Four, like, is your life full of color, or is it kind of dull and drab? And how can you make Spirit knows we can let go. We can let go and flow. And this is what this year is all about, letting go of our resistance to change, letting go of our resistance to love, letting go of our resistance to joy, letting go of our resistance to our spiritual evolution, our continued awakening, because it's not just something that happens one time. It's not one time. It's every day is an opportunity to grow our connection with the divine. Someone said to me at one point in time, oh, I've never met anyone with a spiritual bone in their body. Every single bone in this body is spiritual. I really don't know how to do life without the merging and weaving of the spiritual. And so everything, whether it's a karmic connection, whether it's our own personal healing from the past, or whether it's a soulmate connection, a twin connection, whatever it is, everything has a purpose. And right now it feels like many of us are wrapping up the phase of development that involved karmic connections, that involved, there's nothing left to learn except for us to let go and turn and float into the arms of love, into the embrace of the beloved. Tristan's really comfy on my lap, but the fur is driving me crazy. So if you're resonating, hit that thumbs up. Let me know. Like, balance the energetic exchange. Support the flow. This is how we grow, right? This is how we grow. And if you're resonating, let me know, because otherwise I'm just talking, it's like to the airwaves. Hello, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. We all are, aren't we? And in the process, are we having a good time? Or are we holding on to things that just aren't ours in this lifetime? Are we holding on to, or are we holding ourselves back from things that are? Perhaps it's letting go of the idea of mind over heart. Perhaps it's letting go of the idea of what will people think? What are people thinking? Who cares? Honestly, who cares? What are people thinking? Most people aren't happy anyways. And so if we're doing our work and we're moving towards our own personal fulfillment, moving in the direction and of joy in our life, who cares what another's thinking? We're not causing harm. We're growing. We're doing it. Many of us are doing it on our own. Oh, wow, Colleen. Yeah, today was a really, it was an interesting day, and really feeling it in the 3D, right? Like feeling, um, almost like, am I in the headspace? Hey, Zach. 1111, the twin soul connection, right? The the wish fulfillment, moving in the direction of love. And we have disorienting days, and like, are the disorienting days those days that we're more in our head than in our heart? Like when we're always having to keep up a front, like when we're hiding ourselves from others, it's got to be it's a hard go, right? And it's a hard no. It's a hard no. Allow the head to be moved into the heart and to be moved by the heart. And so when we're having these disorienting days, when we're feeling, hey, there's my little sister in the house tonight. Everyone say hi to Leanne. That's my sister. um, so yeah, and hit the thumbs up, everyone. So when we're moving into new spaces, when we're being guided to move forward, uh, head guided by the heart, it's not, I was going to say it's not for the faint of heart, but that's so cliche. It's really like, we're here as the lion heart. We're here as the sacred heart, and we're here to really, and God, source, our loved ones in spirit, all the spiritual realms really want us to live our joy and experience fulfillment. Coming clean. I almost called this video Coming Clean tonight. That's really funny you said that, Zach. What did I even call it? I don't even know what I called it. I almost called it, first it was like choose love, choose life. And then I think in the description of this video, there was something I did write, Coming Clean. So it's interesting that you say that. The song that came to my mind first thing this morning was the song What If God Was One of Us? Joan Osborne. Have a listen. And when it says, I called it in the title. Okay. Have a listen. And the part in the song when it says, what if God was one of us? What if just a slob like one of us? And, as I was singing it, it was like just a slob like all of us, right? We're all in this human experience. And let's face it, like, yeah, some of the experiences are rather idyllic and picture perfect, if you will. And yet, even in those situations, everyone's got stuff to deal with. Everyone is going through it. Everyone is feeling the energetic shift, whether they're aware of what the heck's going on, anyways. And like was said in Tuesdays with Maury, if you're plugged in constant to like things like CNN, like back then everyone was plugged into the OJ trial, like what does that bring to your life? What is it really bringing to our life? We're actually missing out on life. We're missing out on like the simple pleasures, the simple things, sitting on my little rock island and feeling like I was, the queen of that island. I was. I was. My shungite is still sitting on that island. And again, in the past, when I've left crystals behind or lost, I can remember when I lost a pendant that Frank had given me um, in Mexico with my sister and her family. And I was like, it was like losing him all over again. And so, like, reliving the grief experience. And then when we settle into, well, it's gone, there's nothing we can do about it. It's not coming back. Um, then we can really begin to heal. And it's in the letting go. It's in the letting go. And it's all about the journey along our spine. It's a great book, Leanne. Did you like? I've had this on my bookshelf for years. I started it yesterday. I finished it today. And what a beautiful story. What a beautiful story of like truly savoring life in the moment. And Mitch, his student who had been disconnected for 16 years, it was interesting as it was getting closer to Maury's transition, how Mitch was battling with his own guilt, with his own inner, like where he where he felt that he had failed, like he hadn't stayed in touch with his favorite teacher ever, and yet, it was so beautiful how the connection grew between them, and Mitch doing things for Maury that he never imagined. And one of the beautiful things that Maury said to him at the end is that if he had another son, it would have been Mitch. He would have wanted Mitch as his son. And Mitch didn't really have a great father. So many children in the world don't have great fathers, didn't have great fathers. Some did, and some had wonderful, have had wonderful, fathers that stepped in, stepfathers, like when Frank came on the scene, he was a wonderful addition to my son's life. Wonderful. And his transition has left a gaping hole in my son's life with respect to that masculine energy that's present and accessible and available to him. Yeah, the crowns are so cool. I don't know how people get a crown. Zach, you got like number 3, number 1. Oh, I guess maybe it's the most comments or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, God bless Frank. He made an appearance today and supported a great release. I'm not sure how long I'll carry his glasses with me around. But yeah, to come across them today was a little, it was, you know what? These little pair of glasses highlighted the gaping hole that a loving presence can leave in our life, in our daily life, like in our physical life when they pass. And he was a great presence everywhere he went, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that when they reminisce and think of Frank, they only have wonderful thoughts and wonderful stories about him. How could you not? To know the guy was to love him, even though he generally wasn't my type. He certainly turned out to be. So we all need a little more color in our life, and the way to get away from the dull, yeah. See, Leanne knows. So to get a little more color in our life, we have to let go of the dull. We have to let go of those that don't bring anything to the table. We don't have to be with friends. We don't have to be friends with someone just to be a good person, right? We can just say no, like not interested, right? Just no. We don't have to continue to engage in spaces, in places with people that insult our soul or, insult or disrespect the human that we are, right? That don't bring any value to our table, that have nothing to offer, nothing to share, not even truth and honesty. Yeah, we all loved Frank. He was all up in the plate, all around today. Yeah, so let's get a couple of cards from the Native Heart Healing Oracle. And hit the thumbs up, everyone. Hit the thumbs up at the top. Thumbs up. There's 5 live viewers and 1 thumb up. 1/5? Come on. We can do better than that. Yeah, who knows? I think we should all be wearing a crown. I don't even have one close by here to put on. Excuse me. Yay, thanks for the thumbs up. Whoever hit it. Thank you. So what's going on in your experience? What are you feeling? Are you feeling the shifts? Are you feeling the movement? Like this last week in my life has truly felt miraculous. Like I feel lighter and brighter and more free. Like the baggage that wasn't mine to carry is no longer on my back. I no longer am carrying anything for someone else. I don't feel responsible for anyone else's choices and decisions or lack thereof. And that's, slowing down. This is the message we've been getting for cancer season. We're in the thick of it now. We're at the midway point of cancer season. And so if you haven't slowed down yet, what are you waiting for? Oh, look at this. This is our second 16 tonight, the Lakota tribe. I'm looking at a stick my dad brought me home from, I think he got it in Florida, but the guy had told him it had come from like Arizona or something. I don't know if it was Lakota or Apache, but it's like a medicine stick. It's actually, I can see it right there. I'm going to show you. But we have 2 16s here. 16 is the tower energy, letting go. We're all experiencing these big tower moments, right? Big tower moments. And then if we add the 1 + 6, we get the 7 energy, which is the chariot. The chariot isn't a vehicle that we get in and someone drives us away, whisks us away on an adventure. We're the chariot. That it's meant to be a spirit guided adventure, not an ego. If the ego is running the show, our life, we don't experience a lot of joy. We may be comfortable in our solitude. We may be quite content in our alone time in our spaces. And yet, as Maury said, love more. If love knocks, run and open the door. What are we waiting for? Tomorrow, the next day? We never know. Maury was fortunate enough to know. He said it. He was given a death sentence. And there's many people out there that are given those on a daily basis. And yet, the truth is, it's not. None of us are going to escape it. It happens. Like Frank's happened. We didn't know it was going to happen. It happened. He was there in the morning. See you, honey. 2 weeks vacation, and he was gone by lunch. So, and yet, again, that's the measure of a great life, because as traumatic and sad and jolting and everything that it was, he left nothing but love behind. I guess he did leave some material things too that people just fought over anyway. So what good is it? Like, he had those things, but he also left even better things, like the love and the memories and the the stories and the feelings that people felt in his presence. Let us be more like Frank. Let us be more like Frank. And Frank was cocky confident. And, cocky confident is like the new vibe, I guess, as the masculine begins to rise. Let's get another card here. I'm feeling something with that Lakota tribe, like medicine wheel energy. And when I was down at the stream today, I did put some tobacco down, and I took my special sage down there because I know there's more on the way to me. Thank you, Melba. So, it does feel something about like ceremony, like doing the things that support us to allow the cleansing to move through, allowing the release to happen, like whatever's wanting to come up. My voice sounds better today, but there's still a lot of congestion in the chest. Hey, thanks for saying hi, Colleen. Colleen says hi, Leanne. Yeah, let's do that. And I felt so like I was so happy today to go padding across the street in my bare feet. I've hesitated doing it around here because like it's, there are people with a lot of addiction issues around, and so you never know what you may see on the ground. Didn't we see this last night? The butterfly goddess 27, this 9 energy. Did that come through for you, Kat? Um Again, honoring your truth, wrapping up a cycle of um, settling. Look at this. The sun god, 21, the world energy. Standing in your own light, asking your soul knows, trusting your heart knows. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Don't compromise your own integrity. You are so worthy and deserving of reciprocal relationships in your life, reciprocal connections. Let's just check in. I didn't touch on the astrology of the time. Oh, thank you for saying that, man. I wouldn't know. I don't know. I kind of think I'm kind of cool, but again, um, yeah. So I wrote midpoint Cancer season, big changes take place in quiet spaces. So we don't have to be loud and boisterous. We don't have to go out there with our megaphone. Perhaps this is my megaphone sitting in front of my computer on a Friday and Saturday night. Um, or as Frank would say, my soapbox. And he made me the podium for the soapbox. So, he knew my heart. And yeah. So big changes take place in quiet spaces. At this time, we have Neptune stationing to go retrograde at 3 degrees of Aries. And this stationing retrograde is a 3-month process. So it started in June and it's going to go through until August. And then it'll be retrograde until December the 9th in Pisces. So taking us back to those watery realms of Pisces, the duality, the spiritual, to merging the spiritual with the physical, with the material, and being the bridge and the space between both. And many of us know that it was last Pisces new moon, not last Pisces new moon, the one in 2024, that was a massive catalyst for big personal shifts in my life around the masculine energy. And it's been a year and a bit of working through a lot of stuff to become more clear, to become more of who lisalyle was born to be before before anything. Remember, everyone, God knows our heart, source knows our heart, and in we are loved unconditionally in that embrace through everything, regardless of what we may think and feel about ourselves. We are loved and adored in the spiritual realms. And it's high time we start showing up for ourselves in ways that reflect the fact that we are children of God, of children of the heart. So that's Neptune stationing. We also have Venus now moving into Gemini, and so Venus is conjunct. So Venus is moving into Gemini, and Venus and Uranus are conjunct at 29 degrees of Taurus as they make this move. And Uranus is all about wanting us to gain our independence, our personal unconscious, the ego. The ego responds from patterns back there. The ego shuts us off from life, from experiencing life, from experiencing connection. The ego thinks it knows everything, and yet the soul knows the difference between right and wrong. The ego is imposing. And the ego is also a self-imposed prison that the mind creates. And it's up to move into the heart space so that we can free our soul, so that we can get busy being who we came to be. Bee sounding breath. Bzzz. Busy. Or perhaps that's a message. We're all so busy that we don't really get to appreciate the simplicity of life. When you live a life very lean, you really begin to appreciate the simple things. And, throughout my life, I feel like I've had a strong appreciation for the simple things. Nature is truly the medicine that, you know, um, helps me to be who I came to be. Getting to nature, perhaps not being such a busy bee, allowing yourself to rest on a leaf, to rest on a flower, and savor the sweetness of life in each and every hour. Because we get so busy acquiring things, we get so busy focused on, whether it's the OJ Simpson trial or, whatever it is. For my throat, I have some bee pollen here. I have some bee pollen. I've been bathing in rosemary, and that's really brought up a lot. Like, it's loosened the thing up, the chest up. And I've also, this week, for a couple days, I've been wearing a quarter of a nicotine patch. Yes, I have. I have that, Zach. I've been wearing a quarter of that on my left shoulder, changing it every couple days for the past week. And I've noticed much more ease with breathing. So there's something to that, opening up the airways, opening up the lungs. And the lungs, I've been talking about this release and all the phlegm and mucus and stuff that's been coming out of me for 2 days. The lungs hold grief. Metaphysically, in the body, the lungs hold grief, and our ability to release the grief, to move on from the grief. And so this feels like a tremendous leveling up. I've been feeling that all week. It's like a bit of a miraculous week. I'm a miracle and incredibly powerful. And we all are. Everybody here is. And do you see that and feel that about yourself? And if not, let's talk. Talk to me. Zach, did you say hi to my sister, Leanne? Say hi to my sister. So on Monday, we have Venus trining Pluto. So Venus will be in Gemini. Yeah. So it's really helped clear up my lungs. And I got that little tidbit from Medicine Woman in the Woods. If you don't know her, check her out. She's on Facebook. She's in New Brunswick. And she's amazing. She is amazing. So check her out. And anyway, she's the one that said that about if you're having congestion in the chest, in the lung space, she cut it in 4. And the one I have is only 7 milligrams of nicotine. So I think it's the lowest. And I cut it in 4. So, it's not much at all. And the difference is beyond, it's absolutely noticeable. I'm so grateful for her wisdom and her generosity in the way that she shares her wisdom with the world. So check her out. She may be here on YouTube. Yeah, character is really important. And, if we're not a person of integrity, it's felt, right? Like you can feel it. We can feel someone's energy a mile away. And sometimes we give people the benefit of the doubt. Oh, maybe really a good guy. Sometimes they're just not good guys. or gals, or and we must not, let's not get angry at these people. It's almost a little bit there's almost a little bit of energy of taking pity on people like that. Like, I pity the fool, as Mr. T said in the 80s, right? I pity the fool that can't be real with themselves. I pity the fool that can't face their emotions, that can't show up in life in stable, strong, and courageous ways, taking the lead as the masculine is meant to do. Character is really important. And I love it. When my son was in school, the report card, he always did well on the character side of life, not so much on the academic side of things. That's what matters, though. It's the character that matters, because that's going to be with you. And much of the academics that we learned in school don't get us very far in life anyways, right? And what they're teaching in school now is all convoluted and confused, and it's absolute lunacy, right? It's insanity. And so as we let go, as we focus on our spiritual awakening, our spiritual development, our personal healing, our willingness to be vulnerable and begin to open up, to open to the possibility of, love again, connection again, partnership, friendship, and it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be like a intimate connection. I mean, I focus on that because that's what I'm calling into my experience, because that's really what I want to have in my life. Maybe I'd like to have someone sitting beside me here on a Saturday night with all of you, right? Like, that would be ideal, maybe. So yeah, how do we, all we can do is show up and hold space for ourselves, and show up and be authentic and be a person of good character. And again, people always reveal their true colors. Oftentimes we don't need to say anything. We just need to hold our head high and continue walking forward, knowing that, knowing our role and our part in a situation, knowing that any guilt or shame is not ours to carry. And if we do have guilt and shame about situations, or, about back there in life, then address it. It's time to get down to the nitty gritty and to get into the depth of it. Because like Maury said, what is really important to focus on in this life is the connections, not the stuff you acquire. And that it's the connections. And this is my offering to the world. One day when I'm not here, people are going to be able to come back and go on YouTube and perhaps connect with something that, was shared here. And that's what we're all here for, to seed and leave our legacy of love in the way that our heart calls us to do. Yeah. Some people, though, aren't doing their best, right? Some people just are cowards. Like, that's true. And everybody here, that's why when I was feeling the visual of the heart, it's like the lion heart. It takes courage to see ourselves as we are, to see others as they are, and then change what we can, which is ourselves, right? We'll never change another's heart. We're never going to change another's mind. We're never going to change another's character. Some people just are slime, like some people really can't get out of their mind. Some people aren't in touch with their emotional body. Some people are, again, it's trauma based. It's trauma based. It's pain based. It's back there. It's deep. But it's everyone's got their own work to do. And ultimately the work that we do is just becoming more and more true to who we are. and hopefully finding our niche in the world, finding our place in the world, finding our tribe, and growing those relationships, growing within a vibe that is reciprocal and supportive and nourishing, and holding space for that to um, be drawn into our experience, to be drawn into our life. Most people are doing the best, some aren't, though, and some willfully and intentionally deceive to get what they want, right? Because that's the kind, they're predators, and they see others as prey, what they can get, the feather in the cap or whatever it may be, right? And yeah, so there we go. So and so Uranus is going to go retrograde in November. Uranus is also about our soul records, the Akashic records, what the soul knows, and the soul is the guide home, right? The first card that I saw when I brought this deck out, and this deck um, I haven't used in a long time, is the secret language of light. And when I brought the deck out, this was on the bottom of the deck. Ask your soul, because the soul knows, and the soul wants to transform within the human experience to the greatest and highest expression. What if God was all of us? Not just one of us. What if God was all of us? What would that mean to you? Would it change anything that you do? We are 1111, the soulmate, the twin soul, the portal, making a wish and believing that wishes and dreams come true. I keep getting the message today after I found the glasses and had my big cry. Yeah, some people just aren't good people. And it's a hard pill to swallow when sometimes we move. I've had a tendency in my lifetime to see others through rose-colored glasses, and maybe myself too. And it's when we take the rose-colored glasses off and really see ourselves and see others as they are, um, it's freeing. It's liberating. It takes the pressure off. And sometimes we don't want to think that there's bad people. We want to give people, especially if we have a friendship or a connection with someone, and we actually like them, and yet at the end of the day, their behaviors, their lack of responsibility, their lack of strength and fortitude, perhaps lack of intelligence, wisdom, and self-awareness, it's we must see people as they are. And when we see ourselves as we are, we can see others as they are. And even if they're not, say, good people, we can still hold love in our heart or hold loving space for that person. We just don't have to. We don't have to. Um, we don't have to continue to welcome such rats, is the word I heard, into our experience. Just let a rat be a rat. Let just let a rat be a rat. Let people be who they are. And the more that we can let ourselves and give ourselves permission to be who we are, the more we can let others show up in the world as they are. And it's not our job to out people. It's not our job to call people out and tell them. It's our job to stand up for ourselves and speak our truth, and then others do the same, right? We don't have to guilt and shame, name and shame people, because someone that's not living in integrity, someone that's living in a lie, doesn't feel good on the inside, right? So we can trust that they will work out their own karma in divine time, right? And we're now moving off. We've moved away from our karma. We're clearing the karmic energetic, and we're aligning with the destined path, our destined path of purpose in this lifetime, our destined connections in this lifetime, connections that are meant for the long haul, not these one and done nonsense connections that usually cause more harm than good. Not usually, always do. Not usually. They always cause more harm than good. So this weekend, check it out. I wrote, it's a highly intuitive weekend. Pay attention within and honor the call of love. Why do we resist bliss? Why do we resist forward movement? And the question to ask is, what is holding us back? Fear is usually the answer. And what are we afraid of? What are we afraid of? Connection? Feeling hurt or pain again? As we can see, as has been um, uh, evident throughout our life, we all experience, to be human, we're going to experience pain. As a parent, when our child is hurting, we feel pain. If someone punches us, we're going to feel pain, right? Someone pinches, we're going to feel pain. If someone transitions, we're going to feel pain. And yet, to not open to love again, to hold ourselves back from connection, is a real disservice to the evolutionary point of our spiritual awakening here on earth, as our eternal spiritual unfolding. We're here on earth to have connections with one another, to connect, to support one another. That may not be evident. It's what we're truly here for, though. And I was guided to write, there are no coincidences, only spirit guided encounters. And it's about alignment. Alignment is everything. Alignment with our heart. And then the final words on the page were bathed in the light of love. As Maury reminded us, love more, because love always wins. And we're the winners here in this lifetime. We are the winners. So if you don't think you're a winner, love you so much, Julianne. Thanks for showing up and hanging out with us again tonight. And yeah, you have a good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. It's 11:44. Again, that master number, the gateway energy with the angels. We are all walking with angels. And we're all here to walk each other home. And home isn't far away. I'm home. You're home to your soul. And this home is the most important home. And then next comes the nest that we live within. So, anyone have anything to share? Anything to say? Thank you all so much for engaging on the side. Let me read some of the comments here. Yeah, people are people, so why should it be? You and I should get along so awfully. Depeche Mode. Is that Depeche Mode? Yes, Leanne's middle son was born at 11/11. 11/11. And he's a Leo. He came into the world fast and fierce at 11/11. And the look on his face, it was like, what the am I doing here? What the heck just happened? Um, you're really special, Zach, seeing 1111 all the time. And I feel like seeing 1111 for you, it's almost like, make a wish, and remembering that you are the portal of the wish. You are the gateway to bliss. Oh, numbers everywhere. Math doesn't lie. 1 + 1 isn't 3. No matter how you try to convince me, 1 + 1 isn't 3. So numbers don't lie. And I believe it was Nikola Tesla that said, if you understand the, if you understand something about 3, 6, and 9, then you understand the secrets of the universe. Like, and my life path is 36-9. So, I'm a 9 life path. I'm not here for I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And I'm here for a love of life aligned with the divine. And if I can leave a little bit of light, if I can bring a bit of light to all the spaces I enter, then that makes my heart happy, honestly. What other comments do we have here? Just my sister signing off and saying good night. And yeah, so shall I pull some feather cards? The only song I really know about angels, I've recently had it in my head, is the Black Crows. She talks to angels. And crows are a familiar of mine, always bringing me messages and signs of the turning of times. Yeah. Yeah. And music heals. Music heals. So today it was like, what if God was one of us? What if God is all of us? And then it was Jewel, and I that's the first comment here. Jewel, who will save your soul. And again, when you listen to the lines of the song, who will save your soul for the lies that you've told? Again, we do. And how do we do that? By coming clean, by speaking things. Because when we're not speaking truth, like my wanting to remain friendly with someone who is an absolute dirtbag to me, my wanting to remain friendly with this dirtbag, what was that doing for me? And because when wanting to remain friendly meant I wasn't talking about it. I wasn't talking about what a dirtbag this person is and has shown himself to be. And again, it's not my position to be the judge and jury. I can only judge based on interaction and my own experience. And that's all any of us can do. And so we don't have to worry because everybody gets their karma. Sometimes it's instant. Sometimes it takes a lifetime. Sometimes we don't get to witness it. And yet, the divine truth that we all share is we all have our own karma to face and address and clear and move beyond the real, the perpetual loop of karma and level up onto the wheel of fortune, the wheel of destiny, the wheel of blessing, of connection, gifts. You show up for me, I show up for you. Reciprocal exchange. We're not playing games unless they're fun. I mean, I've got a bucket of games I'm going to take to the job tomorrow to play at lunch. I've got horseshoes. I've even got stakes. I believe I saw horseshoe pits there. And I found horseshoes yesterday. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I must be meant to take these horseshoes. I just have to find the other post. And I think I know where it is. So, those kind of games where we know that we're playing a game, that we know that we're involved in a game that's being played, where we know the rules, those games are fun, right? Those games are a lot of fun. When we become prey to perhaps not great people, the game playing with one another, with each other's hearts, is not fun. It's not cool. It's not cute. It's not adorable. It's none of those things. It's gross. It's gross. Kind of like my cough. It's gross, and it hurts the one playing the games the most. And so I guess we can take comfort in that, knowing that everyone faces their own karma. So I think I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to wrap this little message up with this. Yeah, what if God was that I don't know. There was I don't know, like I haven't watched TV in a long time. I don't have cable here. If I watch anything, it's on YouTube for the most part. And then these other free things that they give you with these fire sticks, like Pluto and Tubi. Have you ever noticed, if you've ever like gone onto there, like they have movies and stuff, but they're all like murder and like they're all traumatizing. And I feel like that's why, like, even from a young age, there was a lot of stuff that I saw in movies and on TV that like just literally terrified me. It frightened me. I liked things like, I guess I like things like One Day at a Time because it was relatable. A single mom with her daughters. I was living, my mom was a single mom with her two daughters, Leanne and I. So there was that. And then I like things like The Love Boat, but even Fantasy Island kind of scared me a little bit, which followed Love Boat. What else? I really wasn't like a Little House on the Prairie. I love that show. Um, what else? I guess there's a period of time that I could watch those shows like 48 hours and stuff, but that was a long, long time ago. And I went to go and see if there was a movie I could find on Tubi or whatever. Someone had told me, excuse me, about a movie. And I couldn't find it. And all I could see was like Murder in Paradise and this and that. It was all like terrifying things. I don't want any part of that. I really don't. And that's probably why I don't watch much TV, because we're here to create heaven on earth. And heaven on earth isn't found it's found in the simple things. It's found in the presence of people and company that's good for our heart. It's found in nature. Excuse me. It's found in yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's really important that we begin to notice that stuff. And even like most recent, like in recent years, I liked watching shows like Deck, Down Under, um, like Below Deck. I like the yachting show, reality TV, right? Um, and I liked Survivor when I had cable, but I don't have it anymore. And I don't really, for the first couple of weeks when we moved here, I kind of missed the routine, right? Coming home from work and watching Below Deck or, doing whatever I did in front of the TV to unwind. I don't really miss that anymore. I come home, engage with the dogs and my son when he's home and sit outside and look at the sky. Maybe watch something inspirational on YouTube. But I can't do the traumatic things. I don't like to see gross things. I don't like to see people hurt. Like recently, was it last weekend? It was sometime this week down the street here. As I've mentioned to y'all before, I don't live in a great part of town. And lots of activity goes on around here. Anyways, down the street at pizza store, I guess on Sunday night or Monday night after midnight, some teenagers, like, I think they aged them between 9 and 16. Terrible. And yet these children obviously learn such terrible behavior from somewhere, right? Yeah, garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, gigo. Um, so, anyways, long story short, these teenagers jumped the counter of this pizza and attacked the girl behind the counter. And she's a young girl working a job. It was at midnight. Why do they have a young girl? Why do they have young girls working in pizza stores or anywhere for that fact of the matter after midnight by themselves? Because I can assure you, if there was a divine masculine in the house, that bullshit would not have taken place. That girl would not have experienced that beating. Those children wouldn't have acted like animals because they all jumped in. There was more of them that jumped in. And you know what? People said to me, Lisa, did you hear about that? And I said, no, I didn't hear about it until I was told at work. Someone told me. She's like, it's just down by us. And I'm like, no, I didn't hear about it. And then the next day when I came to work, she's like, did you hear about it? And I said, well, I've heard about it now. And she goes, did you see the video? I am not watching a video of savage teenagers jumping over a counter to beat up another human being. I can't do it. It's not good for me. It is literally not good for me. It breaks my heart. It hurts my heart. It doesn't break my heart. My heart's still beating. It aches my heart. The cruelty of people and how cruel people can be. And I understand, back in the day, we rolled up our sleeves. I've never had a fist fight in my life. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I have a mouth on me, though. I had a mouth on me. And I still do, clearly. Just different. They use different words now. Tristan's back, for those of you who are wondering. But yeah, it's just not in my nature. I remember one time when I was young, a boyfriend, some of the other boys were teasing me on the school bus. And, the boyfriend didn't like that I was getting teased by these boys. And there was a planned fight that day after school, getting off the school bus. And, it took place. And what did I do? I turned away and I was screaming and crying. Like, no, it's terrible. It's not good. It's not good for the soul. It's not good for the child. It's not good for the human. Violence is not cool. It does so much harm, more than the physical harm. It's not cool. I do not consent to it in any way, shape, or form. Physical, emotional, spiritual, sexual, any of those, any abuse is not cool at all. And we need more people to stand up. And hopefully, more. This is the rising of the masculine. Lead the way. Show us the way forward. Because, masculine and feminine each bring different energetics to the table. A man cannot do what a woman can do, and a woman cannot do what a man can do, although we have convinced ourselves that we can. Nonsense. And my big wish and prayer and hope for this world is that we get back into traditional roles. Bring the sacred back to the family unit. And we only do that through ourselves, through the healing within ourselves, with the creation of the open space, the open heart, the open mind, the vulnerability to let love in again. 1981. A penny from 1981. That's good luck. I was 11 in 1981. I want to find a penny. I haven't found a penny in a long time, since they've made them like extinct. Remember penny loafers, putting the shiny penny in the loafers, Baswegians? Well, yeah, businesses use people. Um, you know, she was, she was, she, she had her hijab ripped off of her, and now there's a lot of people saying, "Call it a hate crime. Call it a hate crime." Let's stop. Sometimes children are just assholes. Sometimes people are just assholes. Not everything has to go to like a hate crime or racist. This is where the world's gone. It's absolutely insane. Not speaking truth in Canada these days gets you labeled a racist, intolerant, a phobe of some sort, or whatever. Enough is enough. I'm tired of it. Let's just speak truth. And that's the tribe I'm calling in. Where's the wolf pack? Because you know what? I'm tired of all the insanity. I do not consent, and I'm not playing around in it. And you know what? It's unfortunate because all these people that came to Canada with the promise of a better life are not getting a better life here. And Canadians' quality of life is diminishing. And let's just be honest about it. If the government says it's good, it's not. If the government says it's going to protect you, it's not. If the government says we must do this, we must not. Anything the government tells you is a lie. Lie, lie, lie. And that's why I wish we lived in a world where liars' pants caught on fire. And perhaps liars' noses grew too. It would just make it so much easier, right? We wouldn't have to experience heartache. We wouldn't have to experience, so much of the incidental stuff. So much of the incidental stuff that we have dealt with. And like Maury said, we invest so much in things that don't matter. People invest in so much things that don't matter. It doesn't matter how many houses you have. It doesn't matter how many cars you have. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter because none of it's leaving with you. None of it. None of it. I'm going to go visit none of it one day. Every time I say that, I think of none of it. I've said that here before too, because, at one thing, I'm consistent. So let's read this. And I think I'm going to, good, Colleen. TV's garbage. TV's garbage. And, I hear all these people talking about like, oh, have you watched this? Have you watched that? Even movies from like 20 years ago, they're like, oh, yeah, you remember that. And I'm like, no. 20 years ago, I was a new mom. I had a little child's life in my hands to focus on. I wasn't going to see movies. I'm not much of a movie person. Anyways, like I said, they've all been traumatizing. Yeah. So, and those of us that don't watch much TV and don't watch much news, I think people look at me sometimes when I say things and they think like I'm an idiot. Especially when I say I don't watch the news, whatever. It's like, oh, yeah, I don't condone violence. But if people do watch certain things, there should probably be a bit of a balance with it. And if people who are more sensitive, it probably doesn't hurt to pray first. Yeah, I just can't watch it. Like even in a movie, like if someone's like something's coming up, I'll turn away. I literally can't do it. And it takes me back to when I was young and the things that I was exposed to and the things that I watched probably way younger. Those things had an impact, and not in a good way. Most of it not in a good way. So, yeah. Yeah, and I think going back to like those things that I watched, like, and there was no way, no one. there was no one really to talk to about what had been seen. It was just like entertainment, right? And a part of me was saying like the things that I was seeing on the screen is true, and I was probably right in that regard. And like now as an adult, if I chose to engage in such things, I could clear myself. I could clear my energy. I could, burn the white sage. I could clear the vibes from the house and all of that. When we're younger, though, we don't realize, we don't understand that we're sensitives or empaths or spiritual beings. We don't understand. And so these things clutter to us. Excuse me. These things attach to us. And then they begin to merge with us. And we don't really understand what's ours to carry and what's not. And it goes back to that message of last week. A lot of stuff that we carry is not ours to carry. Our guilt and our shame. The guilt and the shame that we carry. It's not ours to carry. One other really profound statement that Maury said in the book in his final days was he had been asked, what's one thing, a life lesson that you could offer? And it was forgive yourself and then forgive others. And so how do we really forgive ourselves? I mean, it's not as easy as saying, oh yeah, I did this, I did that. I forgive myself. Because a lot of times, like, again, what happened to us as children, it's not for us to carry guilt and shame from those things that were done to us or that had happened to us. When we become young adults and we begin to make our own choices and decisions, we then maybe the shame attaches to us because of the things that we're doing, the things that we're engaging in. Excuse me, I'm going to have to go soon. I'm losing my voice. Yeah, Gladiator. Another one, Spartacus. I will say I did watch, it wasn't by, like, I wouldn't have gone out and chose. I did watch, what was it? Spartacus, the Game of Thrones, and Gladiator. Yeah, I don't watch anything, and well, I mean, I do watch some stuff. At the end of the day, the reality is when we tune into our own inner knowing, when we're connected to the earth, we can feel all these things in your role as a healer, an earth angel, a way shower, a guide, a spiritual mentor and teacher. Your role is to show up for yourself and support yourself in ways that you can do the work that you came to do so that you're not taking on from those that you serve. At one point in time, doing readings for others and energy sessions and stuff was taking a lot out of me. It doesn't anymore because it's what takes place in the session takes place in the session. And when it's done, it's done. And it's not mine to carry. It's my role. It's my responsibility to be the clear channel and then to deliver the messages, to deliver the energetic support, and then it's up to the receiver to do their part. And it's the same in any situation for all of us. And so I find that I'm very tuned into the energetics. I know there's a bunch of BS going on in the world. The difference is that those of us here are to be the bridge of the heaven on earth experience, bringing the spiritual into the material realm. And it seems foreign. It's foreign ground because there's nobody taught us. Nobody taught us. Nobody showed us the way. We are finding our way through our connection to source, through our connection to God, the universe, our higher self, whatever, super consciousness, whatever you want to call it. It's the spiritual journey. It's the awakening that is a daily active process. Because at this point, 30 years into this, if it's not a daily process, I don't know, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I got it wrong. What I do know, though, is I feel lighter and happier and more faithful than I have in a long time. I don't know how everything's going to play out. I don't know all the surprises coming my way, all the gifts on their way to me. I don't know. I know, though, that they're going to be great, right? Because they're coming from source. Rewards for work well done. We've leveled up onto the destined path. The karmic path has kicked your ass, kicked mine too. I'm done with it. And so may you be when you choose, right? We get to choose. We can keep going back and doing that because it's familiar. It's whatever. Or we can forgive ourselves by truly healing. Like if we're feeling guilt and shame from our behavior as teenagers, young adults, even, mature adults, then we have to address what is underneath that. Why did we do that? And heal that so we can truly forgive it. Because we can't forgive others, and we can say, oh, yeah, I forgive you. No problem. Do we really, though? Or do we silently hold on to resentment, slight irritation, not really letting them off the hook? And if that's the case, look within. Instead of the rose-colored glasses, take out the looking glass. I shut my eye like that. I don't really know how to wink. I've never been good at that. Without squinching up my face looking like Popeye. But the monocle, is that what it's called? The monocle? The one that you put in the eye? That just looked like an Illuminati symbol. I'm not Illuminati, folks. I'm for the good guys. I'm one of the good guys. One of the good gals. Okay. My throat is going and I really got to get this stuff out of me. I can't keep choking it back. That's gross. So here's our message. To wrap this up, thank you all so much for being here tonight. Stay tuned. There'll be some angel messages pre-recorded that will be premiering on Monday. So stay tuned for that. If you're still here, hit the thumbs up button. I only ever got 2 thumbs up out of 5. Yeah. Hit the thumbs up button. If you resonate, please do consider subscribing. If you'd like to work one-on-one with me, all the information is in the description box below. I trust that something here has resonated for you tonight. And if not, hopefully you were maybe a little bit entertained and a smile was brought to your beautiful face. So here's how we're going to go. This was a message I received for myself a while back. It's probably going to go in a deck that I'm creating. And here's the message. And this message goes out to all of you. Okay, here it goes. Too deep for most, which is why you feel at times you don't fit. You do. You fit here. Thanks for showing up. You are the sacred shift, the divine human, Hueman, the divine human vessel born for this. Flow to your bliss. It is your journey within where and when you rediscover this, remembering and recovering because you are a gift. Don't resist the call of love. Open your heart, open your mind, and choose to move into the embrace of unconditional love, of friendship, of community. And perhaps some of you need to hear that you are the star of the show, and your growth inspires others to grow too. I see you. I feel you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for showing up. Your love, your support. Hit the thumbs up. Hit it, hit it, hit it. Even if you're hiding there and I don't know you're here, hit the thumbs up, please. 2 to 5. That's not a great ratio. We're going for 5 for 5. Anyways, everyone, that's my encouragement for participation. If you don't want to participate, you're not getting a purple ribbon here. Anyways, until next time, everyone, I see you, I feel you, I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.